Welcome to the webinar training series for the Equals 2009-2011 Mathematics curriculum. In this webinar, participants will be provided with an overview of the Equals Math curriculum. If you have any questions regarding Equals Math, you can contact the curriculum team by email at curriculum@ablenetinc.com. Please feel free to contact us for additional support or follow-up questions. Remember that implementing the Equals curriculum will take time, and one of the most important steps to being successful is to know what materials you have and how to organize them. Let's get started. Equals is a multi-sensory math program which has been aligned to state standards, Common Core standards, and Common Core essential elements. It is based upon a foundation of essential skills, and students build upon these skills to develop useful and functional math knowledge and understanding. Essential skills are those skills needed in order to move ahead in math, whether this means understanding functional skills better or moving on to higher level math skills. For some of our students, that might begin with learning how to sit and attend to a group lesson, and for some students, it may be strengthening the prerequisite math skills so they can generalize and connect math in their world. What's important to remember when teaching equals is that we need to teach math seriously and thoughtfully. We need to focus on teaching math skills in context that our students can relate to. What does this object in my hand have to do with solving this problem? What does this mean for me in the context of the real world? And what does this mean within the system of numbers? It is important to remember that IEP goals are not the same as a curriculum. Goals are individualized and used to decide what to measure. A curriculum is used as a guide for the progression of learning. It is also important to keep in mind that practice is not instruction. While practice activities such as clock bingo are a great practice activity for our students, they need to be taught these skills before they should be expected to understand and apply them. As we are teaching our students, we need to be sure to demonstrate our own thinking about how to solve problems so we can impart this knowledge onto our students. Providing practice opportunities in a variety of ways will build understanding. Concept knowledge is as essential to math as comprehension is to literacy. In order to have good math instruction, we need to teach all aspects of math, not just the skills that have been deemed important. Finally, expectations make a big difference. Be sure to encourage your students to explore new concepts and do their best. Low expectations yield low results, so let's be sure to set this bar high and push our students to be the best they can. Let's take a look at the components that make up the Equals Math curriculum. When looking at a complete Equals Math kit, it will include 4 main components: the Curricular Kit, which is the purple and white box of manuals and materials; the Manipulative Kit, which includes all of the hands-on materials and math tools used in the lessons; the members-only content, which has printable resources, student tools, and resources for teachers; and finally, on the AbleNet website, you will find the Equals Technology Lesson Center, which is a technology tool used to support students during lessons. And finally, on the AbleNet website, you will find the Equals Technology Lesson Center, which is a technology tool used to support students during lessons and activities. These are tips from successful Equals users. We asked what would be most helpful to new Equals instructors. 1. Front-end organization is key. The idea is to know what you have and where you have it, and we'll get started with this today. 2. Resist the urge to print everything. You'll never use it all. There are many resources in the members-only content, and I will make sure to highlight the materials that make the most sense to print and when. 3. Take your time. This curriculum is new to you and your students. Once you get to know the structure, things will go much more smoothly. You may want to have a few math lessons that consist of simply exploring the math tools and the manipulatives from the kit. 4. Gather your materials by section. We'll look at what this means, but by prepping by section, you will drastically reduce day-to-day prep work. And 5, finally, remember your students. They typically process things more slowly and will appreciate the extra time to move through the curriculum. I would also like to note that it is typical for general education teachers to feel comfortable with the new curriculum after 1 to 2 years. Don't feel like you should know everything right away. It will probably take you at least 1 year to feel really comfortable with this or any other curriculum. The Curricular Kit is the large purple, orange, and white box where you will find many of your teacher resources. Moving counterclockwise from the left, you'll see 12 teacher's guides, one spiral-bound book for each chapter, as well as an overview manual, which we will discuss, 27 Workmats, a complete assessment and student protocol score sheet, theme and content posters, pick symbol supported vocabulary cards, and content cards. One of the first steps you will want to take is to locate your equals overview manual. It is important to become familiar with this resource so it can support you during the implementation process. The overview manual looks similar to the chapter guides. Be sure to find the one that says Overview Manual on the cover. In the Overview Manual, you will find the guiding principles of the equals curriculum, a suggested lesson pacing guide, the scope and sequence of the curriculum, lesson objectives organized by chapter, an assessment appendix, and the equals action dictionary. As you are organizing your materials, it is recommended that you mark these pages for future reference. The first thing that teachers will need to locate in the overview manual is the ISBN. The ISBN is located on the bottom of the first page of the manual, commonly referred to as the copyright page. Teachers will need the ISBN when they request access to the members-only content. To request access, use the link provided in the comments section of this video or contact customer service. Within equals, you will find 6 math content areas. 5 of those content areas, numbers and operations, algebra, geometry, measurement, and data analysis and probability, are an agreed-upon set of skills by the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics and Math Educators. These are content areas used when writing standards and creating math curriculum. These content areas are interrelated, yet they have their own unique traits. Within the equals curriculum, you'll notice that these content areas are not taught in isolation. They are spread out throughout the lessons and chapters, so that students have the opportunity to strengthen their knowledge and recognize how these content areas work in the system of numbers. You will also see a 6th content area, Attending and Exploring, which was developed by our curriculum team. The Attending and Exploring content area is a starting point for students who have had little or no math instruction, or for students who are just starting to learn how to attend in a classroom setting. Students are introduced to math in their world and experience these math content areas in meaningful ways. For example, the very first lesson in equals is students will visually attend to math instruction while learning the word look. And then, student will touch or tolerate math manipulatives while learning the word touch. Students who begin in the very first lesson will continue in equals, moving forward like everyone else, and the goal within these lessons is to provide the students with a solid foundation to begin building and developing their math knowledge. As they begin to understand these skills, they will apply what they are learning and connect these skills to the content areas from the previous page. Students will always be encouraged to practice and review previously learned skills as they move forward in the curriculum. Teachers will also find the scope and sequence pages beginning on page 25. The purpose of the scope and sequence is for teachers to identify when a math content area is introduced and how far it progresses through the curriculum. Teachers can also see how the content areas are laid out throughout the curriculum. It is important to note that while this is a great informational resource, teachers will gather more information for how specific lesson objectives build off of one another through the contents pages. In the equals curriculum, sets of related skills are grouped together. These sets of skills are dispersed across the program, so one set of skills supports the next or subsequent set of skills. You will see lessons from all content areas placed in equals throughout the program. On the contents pages, you will see all these skills in order from Chapter 1 to Chapter 12. Students are placed in equals according to their math knowledge. Their disability or IQ score does not enter into that decision. It is based on what the student knows about math. The beginning of the program starts with Chapter 1 and the end is Chapter 12, with all of the lesson objectives in order in between. The contents pages begin on page 3. The objectives will be listed in order in which they are presented in the curriculum from Chapter 1 to Chapter 12. The objectives themselves are organized by chapter, section, and lesson. The contents pages will assist teachers with placing students at the appropriate starting point, identifying skills that students are expected to know depending on their placement, as well as providing a clear understanding of what math skills will be introduced in subsequent lessons. As you read through the contents pages, note how these pages are organized and identified. In this example, you're looking at Chapter 1, Section A, and as you can see, the section of lessons is dedicated to attending and exploring. Under the section, it is divided into 6 lessons, centered around attending and exploring math objectives. This will be how all chapters are organized. The number of sections and lessons within each section will vary from chapter to chapter. The coding system for lessons 1A1, 1A2, 1A3, and so on, will assist teachers when identifying printable materials when they begin instruction. The contents pages are a wonderful resource for teachers to see the curriculum as a whole as students are exposed to new math concepts. Moving forward in the overview manual, on pages 53 through 56, you will find Appendix A, which is the assessment appendix. This appendix will provide teachers with assessment guidelines and protocol, and you'll also find the assessment scoring page on page 56. It is recommended that you mark this page for future reference when it comes time to assess and place your students. For more detailed information on the Equals Math assessment and scoring, please refer to the webinar training series for the Equals Mathematics assessment. Before leaving the overview manual, let's look at page 74, where you will find the Equals Math Action Dictionary. The Action Dictionary is a resource that provides differentiation for lessons by providing suggested adaptations for actions that students are asked to perform in the lessons. Some actions include add, choose, compare, find, join, and say. The Action Dictionary is organized alphabetically by action words that are found in a purple bold print within the Equals lessons. The words are cross-referenced with alternative action words, so students are introduced to consistent differentiation while learning and participating in math skills and activities. In addition to the overview manual, there are 12 chapter guides. The chapter guides contain the individual chapter contents pages of objectives, as well as the organized lesson activities. On the front page of each chapter guide, there will be a corresponding chapter number and a series of 3 pictures that relates to the theme of the chapter. In this example, Chapter 1 Lessons and Math Connections will center around a school or classroom environment. The theme of the chapter indicates a common thread that will be used for problem solving and also as a way to support conversations about where students find math in their world. Some of these themes include animal habitats, at work, working at a pet store, and a grocery store. Teachers will find a complete list of the chapter themes in the members-only content. Also included in the Curricular Kit are 27 large table workmats. Workmats help students organize their manipulatives and support visual and verbal thinking skills as they solve problems. The workmats included in the Curricular Kit can be found in a PDF version in the members-only content and can be printed on standard-sized paper or 11 by 17-inch paper for students who benefit from individual supports. Please note that there are some workmats that relate to measurement, so those cannot be printed on a smaller scale. Another place that you will be able to find the workmats is on the Equals Technology Lesson Center. The Equals Technology Lesson Center is an online resource that is available to teachers and students so that teachers can support students in a digital format as well as hands-on. If you would like more information about the Equals Technology Lesson Center, please refer to the webinar training series for this resource. As you are organizing your kit materials, it is recommended that you laminate the workmats for durability and longevity. It is also important to note that the name of each workmat can be found on the bottom. This will be helpful when the lessons refer to a specific workmat. In addition to workmats, students will also use a series of posters during the lessons. There are concept posters and theme posters that will be used to make connections and support math skills. Again, it is recommended that these posters are laminated for durability. Concept posters are visual aids to support math concepts and strategies, and the theme posters support math conversations and highlight examples of math in familiar, interesting, or motivating themes or environments. The purpose is to engage students and encourage them to recognize math in places they may not have considered. Also in your Curricular Kit, you will find 2 types of picture symbol supported cards. The cards will be separated into vocabulary and content cards. Vocabulary cards have a purple back printed with many equals AbleNet symbols and are labeled equals vocabulary card on the front. These cards will be organized alphabetically according to the organizational handout included with each kit. Vocabulary cards are used to introduce students to new math vocabulary words that support the lesson objective. Individual printable vocabulary picture symbols are available in the members-only content and will be organized by chapter, section, and lesson for additional support. The content cards will be organized by content categories, also laid out in the organizational handout. The backside of the content cards will have a picture representing the category, and on the front of the card, you will find the category in written form. Use the organizational handout to sort your cards. The cards have been labeled along the bottom that identify if they are a vocabulary card or if they belong to a set of content cards. If possible, have students assist when you're sorting the content cards so they can become familiar with the resource. This is an easy way to get them involved in the implementation process. Due to the large number of vocabulary and content cards, it is not necessary to laminate all of the cards before you begin instruction. You will not be using all 700 cards in the first year of implementation. As you begin instruction, it is recommended that you laminate frequently used cards as you use them. Throughout the lessons, your materials will list and reference a CD. If the CD is referenced within the lessons, please remember that all of these resources can now be found in the members-only content. If you are using a curricular kit that includes the CD, it is also recommended that you stop using the CD and request access to the members-only content. It is much more efficient, and you may find new resources that were not included on the original CD. In the curricular kit, there will be some materials that will support the assessment. You will find 2 flipbooks in a self-standing easel format and 10 student protocol sheets used for scoring. To assess and place your students in the Equals curriculum, please view the Equals assessment webinar that is part of the training series for the Equals Mathematics curriculum. Teachers will be introduced to the assessment process, how to create assessment subtest kits, and how to efficiently administer the assessment to groups of students. It is important to note that before you begin assessing students for placement in the curriculum, there are additional materials that will need to be printed and manipulatives that will need to be gathered. So be sure that you are organized and set up before attempting to assess students. The Manipulative Kit included with Equals provides you with materials that will be used throughout the curriculum. It is important to be organized in order to make lesson prep and implementation as easy as possible. Here is a full list of manipulatives included in the Equals curriculum. You will find a list in your Manipulatives Kit box when you open it. Be sure to take the time to check off each piece as you remove it. There will also be a long tube that will hold your MathLine that goes up to 31. There are hundreds of math manipulatives that are included in the kit. The materials that were selected for the kit are multi-purpose and were part of a thoughtful discussion with student accessibility and understanding in mind. The manipulatives can be used in a variety of ways to encourage students to participate in math activities and to have the opportunity to communicate what they're learning. It is the goal that all students have a way to demonstrate their math knowledge in a meaningful way. Here we have a place value pocket chart, which is actually one of the most important pieces in the entire kit. When the manipulatives were selected, each piece was part of a very thoughtful discussion. This particular item was selected for students who have a difficult time communicating their choice. You can slide pictures and objects into the pockets, and it is accessible for students through touch, pointing, and eye gaze. It should not be thought of as just a place value pocket chart. The pocket chart is very versatile and great for lessons, especially for students who have limitations. I am able to point to the objects and then program the step-by-step communicator to say that's the one I want. There are many different things I can do, and again, going back to the Action Dictionary for ideas will be helpful when deciding how to incorporate these manipulatives for students. It helps build those communication skills and encourage students to talk about math, which isn't always an easy thing to do. Another great resource in your kit are the anglegs. They are a 3D representation of line segments, which can be used to easily construct angles and create geometric shapes. You can use them to talk about long and short segments, look at the equal sides in a shape, colors, and there are other uses as well. Anglegs can be used as an adaptation. They can be used to find a number along a path on a hundreds chart. For students who might feel overwhelmed by looking at the whole hundreds chart, you can fasten the legs down using tape or sticky tack, and then they can slide their finger or a block along the pathway and stop when they find the number they are looking for. They can also be used to create sorting boundaries for students who have a difficult time picking up objects. Once they are secured, students can slide the objects into place. It's a great beginning sorting activity. For more adaptations, don't forget to check the Action Dictionary found in the Overview Manual. In the Teacher's Guide, you will find some lessons that reference the need for a gel board in the materials list. The gel board is no longer included in the kit and has since been replaced by a dry erase board. The alternate spinner is an accessible spinner. It spins with the press of the large button on the front or a switch that can be plugged into the side. Not only can the alternate spinner be used as an alternative for rolling dice, but the overlays can also be flipped over. Now you can write on the overlay with a dry erase marker, or you can attach cards or pick symbols with sticky tack for the games included in each lesson. The spinner is a wonderful tool to use in other subjects as well. You can use it for vocabulary games, making choices, and locating colors, to give just a few examples. The step-by-step communicator can hold up to 2 minutes of record time and is useful for counting, skip counting, and sequencing. You'll find many uses for these devices in the Action Dictionary as well. Both of these devices are battery operated, however batteries are not included in your kit, so you will need to purchase 2 C batteries for the alternate spinner and 1 9-volt battery for the step-by-step communicator. In your kit, you also have 2 MathLines, a smaller MathLine up to 10 and a larger MathLine up to 31. The larger MathLine is shipped in a very long tube, so as you are organizing your kit, be sure to be on the lookout for that. These MathLines were selected specifically for this program, so all students can use them. The MathLines are large and durable, and all of the manipulatives can be attached to the MathLines with Velcro. We have often found that students who need the manipulatives the most are also the students who cannot handle them easily. By attaching manipulatives to the MathLine itself with Velcro, students can move them, and the manipulatives will stay organized and in place so they can best make sense of what happened. In the example seen here, you can see that 5 blocks have been attached to the tabs. As the student slides the tabs, the 5 is visible, so they know that they have 5. The blue tab also represents 5, and the red tab represents 10. Going back to the kit, if you've had a chance to look it over, you will see that there are a lot of manipulatives, such as the chips, French fries, ocean animals, and baseballs. These manipulatives were chosen to fit on these tabs. Even the flying discs can be attached when you put the Velcro on the edge and attach it vertically. It does slant a little, but it will work. Put the soft side of the Velcro on the manipulatives and the hard side on the MathLine. Now, for the student who is unable to handle the motor task of moving the MathLine tabs, or even the attached manipulatives, a counting tray can work. When items are placed on the counting tray for counting, a student can use the movement that works best for them. For example, it may be a sweeping motion. The students can sweep their arm, and the teacher can say 1, and then add another counter, and the teacher says 2, until the correct number is counted. Students are now learning about one-to-one correspondence, and they are able to see the set of items accumulating as they count. It's a wonderful experience for students to see counting in this way. It is quite possible that the student will not be able to stop so neatly at the end of the tray, and the items will go flying off the edge of the lap tray or table. So you may want to secure a shoebox at the end of the table as a place to collect items that they sweep into it. As you can see, there are a number of ways for students to count, add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Many times, the lessons will call out a specific tool or method, but that is an access issue and one that is based upon individual needs. If a different tool, other than the one written in the lesson, works better for a student, then you can switch it out. The same is true for manipulatives. Don't throw out your current collection of manipulatives. It is good to keep favorites or some options for a variety of workstations, or when you loop back to repeat a lesson. Just remember when you choose to replace manipulatives to do so thoughtfully. Be sure the tool is appropriate for the problem and the student, and that you have the right number of manipulatives. As a reminder, there are a lot of additional resources found in the members-only content. The members-only digital content is available to download, and you can also request a USB drive containing all of the contents to be shipped to you. Members-only contains all the resources you will need when using equals in your classroom. In order to receive your members-only materials, you can follow the link in the comments section of this video, or contact us by email at customerservice@ablenetinc.com, or you can call toll-free at 1-800-322-0956. In the members-only digital content is where you will find assessment materials, various teacher and student resources, chapter tests, electronic scoring, the organizational handout, and training handouts. It is recommended to spend some time exploring all of the members-only materials once you have them. Equals is successful and easy to implement if you have an organized math area. Equals kits are shipped with a handout and zipper bags to help with the organization of manipulatives and cards. If you do not have this handout, know that it is available in the members-only content. The handout has step-by-step directions as to how to organize the counters, food kit, blocks, vocabulary, and content cards. In this handout, you will see a 10-page document. The first 5 pages show you how to organize the manipulatives and cards, and the last 5 pages show lesson organization and lesson prep. When organizing your manipulatives, you will want to place them in the provided bags and attach the corresponding labels to each bag. All your manipulatives and materials should be stored in a place where you plan to teach equals. To begin with organization, you'll want to sort and label the animal counters, the insects and other bugs, ocean animals, turtles, and butterflies. Sort and label the flying discs, and label the baseball kickballs. Remove the hot dogs, chips, french fries, and cans from the food bag. Then sort and label them as cans, chips, food boxes, french fries, and hot dogs. The cubes will come from the wood block set. Since the cubes are used more frequently than the other blocks, you will want to separate them from the set and label them cubes. Finally, label all remaining manipulatives, such as the attribute blocks shown here. Find a location in your classroom where you can keep all of these materials. It is recommended that you keep all of the manipulatives near the area you plan on teaching. This will make lesson prep much easier and allow you to swap out materials quickly if needed. Next, you will want to organize the cards. If they are not already separated, you will want to carefully rip apart the cards at the perforated lines. Once all of the cards are separated, you can organize the vocabulary cards alphabetically. The numbers vocabulary words, such as 0, 1 less, 1 more, 10 frame, or any other card that begins with a numeral instead of a letter, should be placed in front of the other cards. Note there are no vocabulary cards that begin with the letter K. The content cards are then sorted by content category. The names of the category are written on the front of the content card. The final step of organization is to create an organizational system for your print materials needed for the lesson. To create your organizational system, you'll want to gather the following items: 20 file folders, or construction paper that's been folded into folders, 2 file folder storage containers of your choice. This can be a file cabinet, 2 small containers, crates, or a large box. Whichever method you choose is up to you, but remember that these will be used to manage lesson materials. You will also need a clipboard or a place to display the materials list by section with any staff notes, and additional color file folders if you are teaching more than one chapter in your classroom. A color coding system is helpful to teachers when locating chapter-specific materials. You can simply mark the top of each folder with different colored markers as well. Next, you'll label the folders with these headings. Again, you will have 2 sets of 10 folders. One set is for teaching the current section of lessons, and the other set is for the next section of lessons you plan on teaching. Once you have labeled the 2 sets of 10 folders, find a location to share them. This can be a find a location to store them. Again, this can be a file cabinet, drawer, or any other place in your classroom, as long as the materials can be kept separate. If you will be teaching multiple chapters in your classroom, you may need to create more folders. You will want to keep any adapted materials and commonly used supplies for adaptations nearby. This helps to make any adaptations a more natural part of the lesson. Some things to include are typical classroom items such as markers, scissors, tape, glue, and sticky notes. You'll also want to establish a place for a math focal point. The math focal point is where the number notes poster, vocabulary cards, posters, workmats, and student work can be displayed. This should be a live space that you can add to throughout the lesson, and something that students can reference during the lesson as well. For now, determine a location in your math area where you will create the focal point. You can use a dry erase board, a place on your wall, trifold board, or any other location as long as there is enough room for the space to grow as your students progress through the lessons. For more information about the focal point, you can refer to the lesson components and lesson prep webinar. Having an organized math area will make teaching equals much easier. Knowing what you have and where you have it is an essential step in the implementation process. As we conclude this webinar, I would like to thank you for your time today. The Equals curriculum provides consistency and support as students are introduced to new math skills. If you have any questions, please contact a curriculum team representative at curriculum@avalonинc.com. We look forward to hearing from you.